And hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Kent Holste podcast right here on YouTube. I'm so glad that you decided to click this link and join in the conversation, as today we are talking about believing in yourself, believing in your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. I believe that there's so many people in our lives today where we forget that we're capable of doing things, that we're capable of putting our minds to these ideas that we have in our minds. And sometimes we let them go. We let people get into our heads saying to us that our dreams, the things that we want to accomplish in our life, are just not possible. And the thing is that's not true at all. We start believing in our minds what these people are saying, that they're just not possible. There's so many people out there that struggle with different things. And maybe it's doctors who are telling them that, oh, well, because of you having this scenario in your life, you're now unable to do this, or you shouldn't do this. You know, there's someone that I know that was told by doctors that they couldn't walk, that because of a situation that unfortunately happened to them, that they're going to spend the rest of their life or whatever using maybe a wheelchair. Maybe they need the assistance of a walker. But they got that in their head and they believed that, oh, maybe this is how it's meant to be, and they just gave up. But you know what? After being encouraged, after being told that, yes, you can do this, they overcame the odds. They started walking. They started to believe in themselves that they were capable of doing things that they never thought were possible to happen ever again. And this is just my example here of what just can happen when you set your mind to what you can believe in inside your heart. Because let's face it, there's plenty of times in our lives where we feel like we're at the bottom of our life, that there's just nothing else that we can give, that there's nothing else that we can do to make things better. We just give up. We give up that belief in ourselves that we are capable of doing certain things. Maybe it's within your job that you've had some minor setbacks, but to you in your mind, they're just too big to overcome, that they are just too big that you cannot fix them. You have to find deep inside your heart that you can believe in yourself, that you can make up for that loss and you can do better, and you can be that person that can go to work every single day and make that impact. And who knows what can happen? Maybe you will get that promotion. Maybe you will get that opportunity to show to the world that you can overcome your mistakes. Now, this may surprise you, but this is the thing. This is what we forget. We are human. We make mistakes. We weren't created, or we have this life, but it was not intended to be perfect. You're going to have these setbacks. You're going to have these times where you have these goals and these things that you have to have done. And sometimes you just flat out fail. And sometimes that is hard to admit that you failed. And in this world where everybody expects perfection, in this world today where people expect people to be perfect, we forget that we are just human. Now, there's somebody else that I know that dealt with a lot of things being said in their life about who they were as a person, what they looked like, how they lived their life, and they judged this person. And it got to the point where this person got so low within their feelings about themselves that they gave up hope on themselves. They let themselves go. They had a good job. They had a good family life, but they let themselves go to the point where they became to be depressed. They noticed that their health started to change, where their image started to not be as healthy as it should. They gained weight. They let their emotions determine how they lived their life. And it finally got to the point where they realized that they needed to get help. If you're having struggles in your life, believing in yourself that you are a good person, if you are having struggles in your life, that you are struggling to believe in yourself, that you are capable to move forward in your life, putting aside these words, these hurtful things that people have said, then you need to seek help. Now, I'm going to make it perfectly clear that I'm not no therapist. I'm not a professional. But if you do have these thoughts of depression and you've noticed that your life has changed significantly, where your image has changed, the way that you treat people has changed, the way you interact with people has changed, then maybe it's time that you seek that help. Maybe it's time that you look for that person to inspire you. The issue is there's not enough people in this world to make up for those people who are being rude, who are bringing people down and tearing their mind apart with all these negative things. And the next thing you know, these people that are hurting feel like they are alone and that no one cares and no one believes in them. It's hard when you have all this mental abuse in your life and you start to believe all the hype that people are throwing at you and dishing at you, and you start questioning yourself going, am I really this way? Am I really that bad of a person? And the thing is sometimes it's true, and it's a tough pill to swallow, and you realize that maybe you haven't lived the best life. You realize that the way that you've treated people has brought you to the place that you are now. You realize that all the hurt that you were receiving, you were taking out in return on other people, which the end result made people not believe in you. They lost that connection with you. And when you realize these things, that's the moment you think to yourself, do I really believe in myself enough to change? Can I make up for the time that has been lost because of my own insecurities, because of my own hurt and pain that I have created other people? But now that pain that I created with other people, it has come upon me. And now I'm hurt because I realize what I've done. The answer is yes, you can. Now, I've talked about this many times prior in my podcast that I've, in the last 4 years, have made every attempt to try to get back with people from my past and apologize and make amends, because I realize just how much damage I have done by not being the best friend, the best person that I can be. You see, I took all the hurt and the pain from all my life situations, between being lied to, manipulated, being told all these hurtful things about my character and who I am as a person. And all these years, I retaliated towards other people who didn't deserve it, not knowing what has happened in my life. Not knowing what has been said prior, I lashed out, and I knew now is the time to change this. Now is the time to talk to these people and let them know just how sorry I truly am. Because I don't want to live the rest of my life knowing in the back of my mind that I did all these things, but I let my pride get in the way to not be able to say, I'm sorry. It takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of belief in yourself that you can step up to the plate and make that attempt to ask for that forgiveness. You have to believe that forgiveness is possible. You have to believe in your heart that at the end of the day, as long as you attempt to believe that you are capable to make positive change in your life, anything is possible. Believing is one thing, but putting forth the effort and living your life the best that you can every minute of every single day, that's all up to you. What about believing when it comes to tests? For me, growing up, I never loved taking tests. And part of that is because I didn't like to study. I didn't like to put forth the effort. But most importantly, I just didn't have the heart to believe that I was capable of putting in the work to make sure I succeed within these tests. And maybe these tests are not just like what you do on paper and you get in school. Maybe it's a figure of speech. We all go through tests in our life. We all go through trials. We always have these hurdles that seem astronomically huge, these mountains that we have to climb that seem impossible to get over, but we just don't have that belief in ourselves that we can reach that summit, that we can reach towards that goal and pass. People test us every single day. People test us with our feelings, our emotions. They test us at our jobs, whether it be customers trying to see just how far they can push the limits. But we have to believe in ourselves that we can overcome these tests, these obstacles, these mountains. We have to believe in ourselves that we are capable of knowing that no matter what comes our way, we can believe that we can pull through. And sometimes these tests that people throw at us are so difficult, and some we're able to get past. Some we just have to let it go. Sometimes it's hard to deal with hard people when they're testing us. And it's hard to believe in ourselves that we can do the right thing and bite our lip, bite our tongue. But when we do have the belief and we do succeed in doing the right thing, at the end of the day, you feel good because you know you did the right thing. Believing in yourself and knowing that you're doing the right things in your life is the biggest thing that you can accomplish in your life. Believing in yourself that no matter what happens, no matter how big or how small it is, you can do it. What about the people who deal with the situations of broken relationships, broken marriages? They may feel like, oh, I don't believe that I can pull through this. I don't believe that there's any way that there's hope for me to get through this hard time. I can tell you firsthand, relationships are hard. To believe in yourself that you can move forward, especially when there's kids involved and you're not able to have contact and you're not able to see photos or see how they're progressing. It's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to motivate yourself to believe that you can get through your day because they're that important to you. Maybe it's the thoughts of, I tried to make it work. I tried to share my thoughts. I tried to say what I was feeling to be understood. And maybe I didn't say things right. Maybe I didn't do the right things the right way. Maybe I was blinded by things that weren't important, but now I see clearly. But unfortunately, because of the loss of that relationship, I'm starting to believe that my motivation should be that every single day I should be the one pushing and striving to believe in myself that I can make each day better than the day before. That I believe that I can do good at my job, be successful, leaving a legacy behind that when people look back, they say, oh, he struggled. Oh, he had all these things that has happened in his past, but he believed in himself enough to know that he can pull through. I wasn't the perfect child growing up. I had a lot of issues. I had a lot of frustrations. I didn't believe that I was good enough. And because of that, I looked for attention so I could replace that feeling so I could, quote, be happy. But that wasn't the case. As an adult, I realized I didn't believe in myself good enough to know that it doesn't matter what happened within my adoption. It had nothing to do whether I was good enough or not. I was good enough because two people decided to believe that I was the right choice for their life. Therefore, I'm good enough. And I should believe in myself that I'm good enough because they invested their heart, their love, their compassion every single day, even though I may have not deserved it all the time. That should have been enough to make me believe that I was good enough, that I was cared for, that I was loved. If you're struggling with believing in yourself, believing in your life, now is the time to believe. Now is the time to look at your life and pull yourself out of your shoes and look at your life from another perspective and really ask yourself, can I start believing? Can I start believing in other people? Because today we judge people. Today we look at people and we judge them by their image, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way that they do certain things. That's not believing in them, that they're good people. When we drive down the road and we see all these people that are homeless, or these people that are in shelters, we automatically judge and assume we don't believe that these people have good in their heart. That needs to change. You see, there's so many different examples that I can throw out at you about the word believe, believing, belief. But it all comes down to what is in your heart. What do you believe? We have to change the way that we look at belief. We live by this seeing is believing slogan, right? People need to see that this is truly fact before they can make any sort of decision. And to me, sometimes it's legit to do that. But if we live in this world learning and growing up that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, then how is that believing? Because if we're judging people, believe me, we're not believing in their capabilities. We're not believing in who they are as a person. We do not believe in our hearts that people deserve kindness. People deserve respect. People deserve someone to be out there to say, I care. So in the comment spot today, share how believing has been an issue in your life and how have you tried to change it? Why is believing such a hard thing to do? And I didn't even touch base on believing as far as a religion standpoint goes, because that's a whole subject in itself. But it's important to know that sometimes you need to believe that sometimes in life, when you're feeling alone, when you're losing that hope, when you don't have enough confidence, the only person you can rely on is our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because he's the one who can help you, make you believe by reading the scripture, by saying your prayers, whether it be before you go to bed, whether it be in these moments and times where you're down, depressed. Maybe it's before these tests, these battles that you go through in your life. You see, during my rebuilding of my life, I leaned on Jesus. I leaned on God to be my roadmap. I asked God to take my pain. I asked God to take whatever was stressing me out in my life and to take it, because I needed help believing in myself that I was able to move forward in my life, to do good with my life. And in 4 years, I've been able to believe in myself again. In 4 years, I've been able to see things differently. I've been able to see clearly of what I've done wrong in the past and how I'm going to start living differently, because I believe that is the best decision. That's what I think it is best for my life, is knowing that without believing, there is no succeeding. So remember that. Share your stories of your life when times were tough and you just couldn't find a way to believe, but somehow, miraculously, you found that belief. Share what it did to your life. Now remember though, as always, all comments, please. If you're not writing something that is positive and encouraging, don't say anything at all. I don't want to block. I don't want to delete. That's not what this is intended for. This podcast I have set up is because I want to help people. I want them to know that despite their problems in their life, they are not alone. So join me in this mission. If you believe that your story can inspire someone's life, then put it there. If you believe that your story has done something so amazing to your life because of believing, then put it there. Let the world know what can happen when you can believe. Do that today. And as always, remember to think and be positive. Do what you can today, not what you can't. And I believe in you. Don't you think you should too? And if you see someone who served our country, whether it be military, police, fire, or even the hard-working people working in our medical facilities, give them a fist bump, give them an elbow, thank them for what they do. You never know how much that might impact their life. It all has to do with being kind to one another. So let's be and do that today. And until the next time we talk, thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day. And I'll see you on the next podcast right here on the Kent Holste Podcast on YouTube.